In our society, we are indoctrinated to see life as a linear process. You go to school, perhaps you go to uni, get a good job, get a better job, get a relationship, get a better relationship, maybe get married, have kids, get a mortgage, buy your first apartment, buy your first house, keep going on like this, kids grow up. So God forbid that you step out of line with that, right? The issue is our minds don't do a very good job at seeing beyond this. So why do we bother trying to measure our life based off someone else's measuring stick? I'm Victoria, but you can call me Tori. I'm an empowerment and wellness coach, actress, writer, singer, and all-round creative communication queen, here to help you harness your voice and inner power to cultivate your most meaningful and authentic life yet. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button to stay updated for future videos. I was beginning to feel in my life a year ago that something was missing, that I wanted to find what was really fulfilling me on the deepest level and take some time out to really find that whilst also pursuing my dreams of being self-employed as a wellness coach. The insane thing was I had been working to create this dream life for many, many years, and I had got to a point where I was finally doing it, I was finally living it, but it wasn't ticking all the boxes like I had expected it would. I ended up leaving Lisbon, where I was based, to return back to my home country of Belgium, Brussels. So I'm doing this video today because I really want to talk about this concept of change and really go into some of the negative perceptions of this in our society, which are once again founded on someone else's image, someone else's idea of what a truly fulfilled life should look like. Change can feel like loss. Change can feel like regression in some instances. What is change? How can we really understand what change means? Change is simply something has been such a way and now it's not that way anymore, and that's okay. But as humans, we are conditioned and biologically we are designed to fear that, fear the unknown. We like to keep things as they are. We like to be comfortable in what is familiar, which is why we often call ourselves creatures of habit, right? But it's a really important time in the world right now as technology begins to evolve really, really quickly. A lot is changing politically, financially, socially, that we really need to, if we're not already, get comfortable with this concept of change, because it is something that is only going to continue at a faster and faster rate. So if you're at a point in a life where something has come to an end and you're either moving into something new or that something has not yet revealed itself to you, it can be very difficult to cope with this limbo process in between chapters. Taking time out to really stop and think and reflect, if you have the means to support yourself in doing so, is something that is not regarded enough. And more than anything seen as usually a negative thing, that you should be doing something, you should be doing more, you should be on the top of your A game. What if you could take that and turn it on its head and actually ask yourself the question, what if not knowing is okay? What if not knowing is actually a wonderful place to be in? Because if you can take a step back to exit the noise and really come into yourself and start to ask yourself these deeper, more important questions around where you want to go next. Who are you now at the result of this change, at the end of this chapter, compared to who you were when it began? How can you get really clear within yourself by coming within and reflecting on who you are now, what is important to you now, and what you would like your life to look like in this next chapter? It's so important that we take time to develop self-awareness. It's so important that we take time to get to really know ourselves and know what we want in order to create life that is meaningful and fulfilling for us on the deepest level. So many people run around in this world not happy, lost and confused because we're so out of touch with what it is that we really need. So when we go through this change, it's far easier for us to compare where we are versus others, or compare where we are versus what society is telling us, rather than actually thinking about the fact that we are on our own unique timeline, our own unique path, and that's what matters. We can't compare ourselves to anyone else because nobody else is like us. And the reality of the matter is this systemic measuring tape that has been created that we are all seemingly supposed to fulfill doesn't actually work. That's not accurate for the average person, because we all have a different path to fill, different experiences, different highs, different lows. It all happens in our own authentic and individual rhythm. And with that, really coming back into this idea of head versus heart. I mentioned this a little bit at the beginning, but reflecting off my own experiences, one of the biggest lessons that I have learned in this past year is realizing that what I think I want sometimes might not actually be what I really want on the deepest level. And with that, we can really learn to become more humble, become more accepting, and become more at peace with the direction that life wants to take us in. And with that, realizing that ultimately it's life who is deciding the ultimate course of the way that we are going. Yes, you can do things like manifestation to, change things in your life and create things like on an everyday basis. But I really believe at the core, there is an ultimate path for all of us, which is going to unfold whether we like it or not. And our place within that means to accept that the preferences that we have will change and evolve as we go through our lives. But the core of what we really want and really desire for ourselves, for our purpose, for our path in this life is what is always going to be constant. So when we can take the time out to really come into ourselves and connect with ourselves, leave the noise of this systemic bullshit that we are indoctrinated by, and really listen within, really take care of ourselves, slow down that pace to really feel into what we need next. I believe that the answers for everything that we need are within us, if we can just quiet down enough to hear what they have to say. The other day I went to see Meg 2 in the cinema, which was kind of a last minute spontaneous decision and actually ended up being really fun despite having not the best expectations about what this film would be like. And a quote that really stuck out with me from that film was the main character, he talks about handling crisis situations. And what he says is, we do our problems one by one. We handle what's in front of us and then we move on to the next thing. And I think that's something really important that we can apply to change. Whether you've just got out of a really difficult relationship, whether you've just been fired or you've decided to leave your job, you've decided to leave where you're living to go either to a new place or to a completely new country, or God forbid, all of those things happen at the same time. How can you come back into your center and keep yourself level-headed by taking on some of this inspiration from a very inspirational film, by just handling the most important thing that you have right in front of you right now, rather than getting overwhelmed and consumed by all the different problems you have all at once. Something that really helps me in this kind of situation is to think about, what are the little things that light up my life? What are the simple pleasures? What are the little joys? What are the activities that I can do on demand, so that are within my control, that I can use to make me feel better, to raise my vibration, raise my frequency, raise my mood, and support this time going by, still feeling happy and still feeling fulfilled and still feeling optimistic, despite not having some of these crucial areas in life in place. Also remembering, how can we come to a place of acceptance for ourselves when we are in this no man's land mode in between these chapters? Because we need to remind ourselves really on a daily basis that who we are is not defined by our achievements. It's not defined by the job that we have, the salary that we have, the partner that we're with, the net worth of the partner that we're with, the size of the house that we live in. It's not about that. It's about the person that we are underneath that. And I think that change is a wonderful opportunity to really demonstrate to yourself, who are you really? How can you handle a difficult time like this? How can you show to yourself how strong you are and how optimistic and confident that you can be within yourself and in life in this time, to still get through this with courage and with grace, and particularly through the unknown. We live in a world that is founded on polarity. Things are either good or bad, black or white. But what if, whether you know what you're doing and you don't know what you're doing, are both the same? What if they're both good? And this is where we can really start to apply a different logic and start to rewire our mindsets a little bit around the not knowing and what we can actually gain from this experience. Because I can definitely say for myself, in the last year, even though I've had a lot of challenge and a lot of difficulty in kind of my relationship with myself and in my direction, and letting go of things that I once believed, and coming into this space of not really knowing what I believe in now, but knowing that I need to follow something new, I've grown tremendously. And I know I've gathered so much more wisdom, which I feel very grateful for, and I feel like I'm already able to reap the rewards of that just through even making this video, and through some of the conversations I've had with people. I've really seen and felt that shift within myself. So how can you take this time through change to see within yourself where you've grown, particularly if it's a situation that you've got out of that was not serving you anymore, whether it was some kind of toxic relationship, toxic living situation? Can you applaud yourself, pat yourself on the back for like actually having got out of that, making that commitment to wanting to change and go on to something better? That is a huge thing already. And when we can cut these things out of our lives that are not serving us, not in alignment for us anymore, we are actually creating space on an energetic level to welcome new things that come in now. So when we can spend this time to get really intentional and get really in touch with ourselves and figure out what it is that we really want, set clear intentions around what it is that we want to create next, then we can be quite sure that what we go on to next is going to be much more fulfilling than the last thing. So to conclude this video, I want to do a couple of practical how-to steps, takeaway exercises that you can reflect on leaving this to take you forward and help you getting through change. The first step, particularly if you are in a situation where you need to get a new job or a new living place, taking time out of the responsibility to go and have fun can actually be very inspiring and very rewarding for you regarding your clarity on these next steps that you can take. So I can give an example. I went to the cinema the other day to watch Meg 2. I actually started to get a lot of insights and realizations that were coming to me about new things that I can start doing, new approaches that I can start taking to things in my everyday life, new activities, new hobbies, new interests that I want to start learning more about. It all just came flooding in. And so I feel like that is a really powerful tool and paradoxical, but I think this is where it's really important that we keep balance between having a fun time and dealing with the difficult stuff that we need to do as part of life. The second step is what brings you joy on demand that can help you through navigating change. What are some fun activities, pastimes, hobbies that you can allow yourself to indulge in this time to keep you happy, to give you a boost? Painting, drawing, going out for a walk and being in nature, going ice skating, or even just, calling a friend, connecting with people you love that can reassure you and give you different perspectives to help get out of any kind of destructive, spiraling thought patterns that might keep you trapped in this state of overwhelm as you handle change. The most important thing to remember in this is that you are never going backwards. You are always going forwards on your journey. When something doesn't work anymore, you're not a failure. You've not done something wrong. It's just a case of pivoting and finding your new direction, which will best suit the person that you are now in this moment. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, please comment your favorite emoji. And if you enjoyed this, share it to all the people that you think would really appreciate this, and also reposting on your socials would be greatly appreciated as well. So thank you so much for watching. I'm so grateful for you here being with me today. And just remember, your girl Tori is right here with you and handling change. And we all got this together because we are all humans and we are all meant to be here to handle and go through change. It's a part of what we're doing, and we're going to come out stronger at the other side if we can apply the right mindset towards it. Namaste.